Alright, so now it's like 1:23 on a Monday on the 12th of January, and I'm continuing my retirement experience. Now, I told you last time that I had to put my finger on the button for record, so this time I got a little pillow underneath my arm so I can hold my finger up on this button. And I gotta remind myself that I need to hold this button if I'm doing the recording. So on this one here, I'm just gonna generally give you some idea of what type of money you could get in retirement. All right. So I, when I was in the military, I joined the Army, and I was in the Medical Service Corps. I was in the Medical Service Corps over there in Kansas, and I was enlisted for a little while, but being enlisted in the military doesn't pay very much. And so I decided to go ahead and finish my degree over at Kansas State University and get a degree. And then I went into the Reserve Officer Training Corps, which they call the ROTC, and uh, graduated from there. Now, our commandant at Kansas State University was a crazy man, and he was real strict. I mean, he was worse than going through basic training. And we would just do we would do everything under the sun. He'd always have us going to confidence courses at local military uh, uh, bases, and it was tough under him. We went down to Camp Pendleton and went through its confidence course, and he was really tough. The guy's a full colonel and all, but he was all straight military, and he had problems with his wife. And so when we were getting near close to graduation, I was the XO of our class. They wore different ranks. They wore like little diamonds and pips and stuff like that. So I had 3 diamonds on my collar. And uh, anyway, we knew that he was sneaking and drinking because I checked his desk and he had some booze at his desk, but he didn't want us to know that he was drinking. But the reason he was a problem drinker because he couldn't get along with his wife. So this is what he had done the day before we graduated. The day before we graduated at our ROTC at Kansas State University, I guess he took a drink or whatever, and he got into his car, and then he went home. He left the academy early because we was wondering what was going on. He cursed us out, and I go, "What's wrong? This guy's crazy." He took the whole battalion in, cursed us out, told us we were candy ass, and did do this. We're not deserving of this, that, the other. He took our rank, told everybody in the command to take their rank off and put it in the box. And so he demoted everybody that boarded, and he just literally just went all up, had us out in formation, and cursed the living daylights. I was going, what is wrong with this guy, right? And then he left. I was going, wait, he left in the middle of the day. What he did, he went down to the liquor store, got him some liquor, and he knew his wife was still in bed. So the way that his house was, his bedroom was behind the garage door wall. So if you open the garage and you see the wall that you're going into, on the other side of that wall was his master bedroom where he and his wife would sleep. Well, he went home, opened the door with the automatic door opener, and then he got back and he rammed his car through the wall in his house, at about 50, 60 miles an hour, ran right through the wall and ran right over his wife in the bed and killed her that morning. So they had the provost marshal and everybody came by and told us. We were in other classes and stuff. They had the provost marshal, the police all came by and got everybody and told us all to report back to the ROTC office. We went in there and they kept asking us, "Do we feel okay?" And they kept asking us, "How did our commandant feel?" And all this kind of stuff. I said, "What's all this?" It's like a bunch of psychiatrists, and they all got us all isolated, and they just wanted to know what our commander was doing and how he was feeling that morning. I guess they were investigators or whatever, and we found out. We found out that our commander had killed his wife that morning, and they got him in jail. But they wanted to tell us what our future would be in the ROTC. Now we all wanted to know if we was gonna graduate, whatever. And they told us no, nobody lost their rank and everything. And they went through the paperwork, and then they found out what we're supposed to do after we graduate. Now, there was only one person in the battalion that was going to be granted, be able to go on active duty. He only selected one person, right, out of all. There must have been like about 200 or 300 of us, and he only selected one person to continue and join and be part of the active duty military. And I was an older guy back then. I was in my 30s, and most of the people in my command were in their early 20s, and there's people that outranked me, so I just knew he wouldn't select me. So we had a little special formation and stuff, and they selected the general came up and said, "Is there a Commandant William Martin?" And I wasn't really paying any attention. And somebody nudged me and said, "Hey, it's you." I go, "It's me? What?" He says, "It's you. Yeah, you got selected." And I was freaking out. I was the only one in my class that was selected to go back on active duty, and it was something else. So, but I have a story about that too. So I did go through that. Went to Fort Sam Houston, and went through my officers academy and all that kind of stuff, and came back into the military as a second lieutenant. I was a sergeant first class, and I came back into the military as a second lieutenant. So anyway, I went all the way up through the ranks and everything until I became a major, and I got a lot of stories to tell you about that. Being a medical officer and going through all the wars, the Desert Storm, Desert Shield, Falklands, all that stuff. I got some stories to tell you, and being right there on the cusp of Vietnam, working grave registration in Vietnam. I have some stories, but we'll go through all that at some other time. Anyway, I was able to take, and I did want to get out of the military, but for some reason the military had this Operation Build Down. I think Clinton did that, where he was kicking military people out of the military and closing bases. They call it Operation Build Down. And all of a sudden, I found myself getting thrown out of the military, and then luckily I got into the National Guards. Well, but before that, I got into the Army Reserves. So I was a medical platoon leader, worked in a MASH, right? So a mobile assault surgical hospital. I went from MASH to MUSH and all that stuff. It's setting up hospitals in these uh, compartmental modules type stuff. Had jetpacks and stuff that was running all by hospital and stuff. So I went on through that for a little while, for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden came a divorce, right? Came a divorce, and that's a whole nother story there. And I moved back home to my parents. Now here I am. I'm a captain, right? And I'm moving back into to my parents' house in California. I'm living in a little trailer out in the backyard. My dad was he retired as a buck sergeant. I think he served like about 3 or 4 years at Camp Pendleton. He was a Marine drill sergeant. Very mean, very mean. And he did not like officers. And here I am coming back home because I'd have failed in my marriage and everything. Trying to start all over. I'm living in this little teeny trailer in the backyard. I'm a captain, and he's a buck sergeant. And we did not get along at all. But since I was living under his roof, I had to do everything that he said. So that's a whole story, right? And there was a whole bunch of mess going on uh, with that. But eventually, I joined the National Guards, and I got out of his place, and then I was living in his rental. He had a condominium over at Scottsdale, so I was living in this condominium for a little while. I had to pay him rent too, right? So I'm living in a condominium. This is my dad. Everything I did with my dad, I had to pay for it. So, and then he sold me his old car, right? So instead of giving me the car, he sold me his old car. Come to find out, he was still getting money off this car because he was working for the county, and he had this little Nissan Sentra that he would go around and do his business on. But after he retired, they were still paying him to have that car. So what he had done is he sold me the car and got money off the car and was still getting money because they were paying him for him having the car. That's a whole nother story. All right. Anyway, I got up to the rank of major in the National Guards, and then off the sideline, I was commandant of the school I was teaching. So I worked for the state too, and so I went up to full bird colonel working for the state, and so it was a lot of when I retired. There was a lot of money. Oh, and I also worked for the. I was when I was going to college. I was a government worker, and I worked for Kansas for Fort Riley's finance and accounting office, and I got up to GS6. So as a clerk typist, and then yeah, I got up to GS6, and then office manager. I could have went all the way up to GS12, but then when I got selected and joined the military, I had to stop. So I'm a GS6. I'm a retired major in the Medical Service Corps, and I'm also I'm a retired full bird colonel of the state of California. So that was like 3 retirements there. And then I worked for LAUSD for 30 years, went all the way to the top of the pay scale. I'm all the way to the steps, so I'm a career 4, if you know what that is. So there's like steps to get up there and everything. And every time I was in a step, I was at the maximum step. So I was at a certain rank at the maximum step. That's like a 15, whatever. So even when I started at the lower ranks, I was at the highest step. And they couldn't figure out how to pay me, right? Because they never seen anybody with a low level, but a step 15 or yeah, the step. I was always step 15 in all the levels I went through, and they couldn't figure out how to pay. So I was always at the top of the pay scale. all the way down to the 30th year. I'm at the top of the pay scale, and I was hoping that they had a career level 5, but after you get 30 years, it kind of stagnates. So I'm off the scale, and so I got that real nice retirement. And then I won the lottery twice, right? And so that was some humongous money. And they couldn't pay me they couldn't pay me the lump sums on both of them. So I got 20-year annulments. So, so they paid me for over 20 years, a whole bunch of money every month, which put me in, and I'm not married now, so, and I don't own anything, so I'm at the top of the tax bracket. So right now, after some of the lottery went off, whatever and whatever, I have 4 nice retirements coming in the first of the month. Every every month or the first of the month, and it comes out to a little over $20,000 a month. So, and this will be paid to me until I take my last breath. So here I am sitting here, and I'm 69, and I'm in good shape at all. I live in a retirement. In a little rental and stuff, little stuff. So when I first moved into my little rental, I was paying like about $50 a month. I thought that was a lot of money. It's $50 a month, and the guy who owned the property, I decided that I would take it, do the lawns, and be like the living gardener and the living handyman. And I says, if I fix stuff on your property and mow the grass and stuff, would you reduce my rent a little bit? And he agreed. So I've never paid the full amount. And so I'm still living in this little 1 bedroom rental. It's not too bad. It's got a little bedroom, kitchen, walk-in closet. It's got a little living room and a kitchen stuff. It ain't about but 300 square feet. 300 square feet. And so right now they're renting these units out for $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month. Same place, same little 300 square foot. They want $2,000 a month. Now I live in what they call rent control, so they can't raise the rent up but about 5 to 8% a month. So right now, while all my neighbors are paying $2,000 a month, I'm only paying $700 a month. So that's my only expense is $700 a month. I got a couple of phones. Back in the old days, you didn't ever pay. You didn't have to pay for a phone, right? But then they had the phones that were on wire, on landlines and stuff. But we got a lot of theft out here in East LA and stuff. So they stole most of the copper on the pole. So we don't have any phone lines because we got copper thieves out here to steal all the phone lines that go into control boxes. So I've got phones here and everything, but they don't work because they stole all the copper. So my phone companies gave me a what do you call these iPhones, whatever. So I got these iPhone 17 and all this kind of crap. And so I had to step up and get used to using these e-phones and stuff. But I got 2 of them, and I'm glad that I got them. But anyway, uh, so and I'm not doing too bad because I'd say with my expenses and the food that I live, my bill is like about $2,000 $2,000 a month, and I got 18,000, and I've got like about 15 some $1,000 that I put in the bank uh, every uh, every month that I don't spend. I bought everything that I want to do. So having a lot of money don't make you happy. And so I thought I was going to live my retirement life. I had a Filipina, and we were together for 25 years. And the plan was when I retired, we were going to travel all over the world. That's what the plan was. We were going to travel all over the world, uh, sell our house or whatever, and just enjoy life until we both grew old and died. Well, this is what happened. There was something called COVID-19, right? It was COVID-19. And she was all into this hype or what was going on with COVID-19, wearing a mask and all this kind of stuff. And being 6 feet away and all this. I'm a medical officer, and I know a whole lot about COVID-19 and what's the truth about the COVID-19. So I tried to tell her some stuff, and she didn't believe it. And so now here we are kissing one another with face masks on, and she's all big with that, cleaning and all this kind of stuff, and telling me that I didn't have my face mask up on my nose and all this kind of stuff. And she lost her job, and I was giving her an allowance and all. And then she was working part-time as a fingerprinter over at the Carson's police station and all. And so she had to take the COVID shots. We swore that neither one of us would never take that COVID-19 shot. And I still haven't done it. And that caused me to get kicked out of my classroom, my campus classroom. I had to work online in my house on Zoom. Okay, that's a whole different other story. But the thing with her is when she took the COVID shot, she got breast cancer all of a sudden, and they had to cut her breast off, and then she had incontinent problems where she couldn't hold her bowels and all this kind of stuff. And her eyes had glaucoma in it, and she was literally falling apart, right? So when she got the incontinence, that's when she kind of just said, "Well, you can't live with me." Lost all her teeth, only had like one or two teeth. And I go, "Oh my God, this is the woman that I was supposed to be with for the rest of my life." She lost all her teeth. She's incontinent. She lost her breast. And when they cut the breast off, something psychological went to her mind, and she snapped. So, and then when she was working part time in the police department, when she was working part time in the sheriff's station over here and all, she got a police mentality that, I don't know why police always think that they're better than everybody else. Is it because they wear a gun or something or whatever? But she got that police mentality, and she's Filipino too. Got that police mentality, and she has oops, my finger fell off the button. So anyway, let me go back a little bit. I was saying that she has that police mentality, and she's got a living daughter. She had baggage, so she has a daughter that's living with her, and she's like 50 years old. Her daughter don't like black people. She calls me a nigger and all this kind of stuff when I go over to their house and knock on the door. And they live in a condominium over there in Carson. And I knock on the door. She tells me, "Get the fuck away from her door, you fucking nigger." And she be crying and go, "Mom, why'd you take all the people in the world? You're dating this fucking nasty ass nigger." And I've been dating my girl for 25 years, and her daughter just can't stand me. And she's living at home. and she's 50 something years old now, and she's a lesbian. She's gay. Oh man, that's a whole nother story. Okay, so anyway, let's go back to the income. So on the first of every month, I get four incomes. I mean, four retirement checks going into my bank. I have so much money I have to put it in two or three banks, and I also got the teachers credit union, so I'm putting money in there too. And so I'm not doing too bad. Okay, it's about between $15,000 to $20,000 a month coming in. And then all of a sudden, I joined this. I opened up a YouTube channel, and I only did this like about 10 weeks ago, about 10, 11 weeks ago. And for the first, while I opened one up, I opened up an internet a YouTube thing 11 years ago or 14 years ago, and I put four songs. I used to sing and make up songs and stuff, so I put my four songs on my email address 14 years ago, and that's about all I wanted to do. And I haven't done anything for all that time. Right? It's just those four songs. So my account has been flatlined for 14 years. And then I opened up another YouTube channel just 10 weeks ago under a different email. That's the Mega Wham 1, MEGAWAM 1. So I opened it up underneath that one. And in the first couple of days, I only got like one or two subscribers and maybe about I'd say maybe about one or two views. And I said, oh, this really sucks. I'm not going to try to make, because I was looking at, and I hear that Mr. Beast is number one on YouTube, and he's making like millions of dollars a year off of his YouTube channel, like 50 to $100,000 a month. I said I could do something like that. But then it was done after did all that work and put my wonderful creations on there and only got like about 5 or 6 views and 2 subscribers. I was about ready to give up. And then the week 2, all of a sudden, it just went off. In week 2, it went. I put my videos and stuff. I put some of my old videos and stuff up that I had saved that were on VHS, and it went up to 10,000 subscribers. So now I used to have a TV show called What's Up over here in East LA long time ago, and all my format, and I had it over here at the Eastern Cable Station, and I was on air for like about 10 years. Had 2.5 million people watching me, and it was wonderful. It's, it was on free, what do they call that? The free cable, whatever, the public cable. They had to have one station that was donated to people who would make their own TV shows, and that's a whole new story over there. But anyway, my show was called What's Up. So I had like about 200 or 300 VHSs, and so they don't use VHS no more, and they don't use the video recorders. But I still have a couple of them here. So there was a device where you can take and convert the VHS into and put it on your modern day computer. So I took a couple of my old shows and converted them and put them and uploaded them on YouTube, and just those few shows got 100-something thousand views each. And I go, wait a minute, I did discover something. I got a gold by here. I got a box full of old VHS shows of the What's Up show, and I put them on, and each one's getting 100,000. views. So I put on a couple of shows, and